Members of Congress can visit ICE detention facilities unannounced, despite the Trump administration previously trying to block such visits. That, according to a new ruling by a federal judge. Here to break down what it all means is the Hill's courts and legal reporter, Zach Schoenfeld. Hey, Zach. So let's start with the basic question. What did the judge rule, and what does it mean moving forward?
Hey, Drew, this is now the second time in this case that the judge has ruled against the Trump administration and has said that these members of Congress must be afforded the right to visit these ICE detention facilities without providing any advance notice. This has been a lawsuit that has been going on for some time now. And as I mentioned, this is the second time the judge has ruled. Already back, previously at a previous stage, she had ruled that DHS and ICE couldn't do this because of a rider in the DHS appropriations bill that says that federal personnel cannot stop members of Congress from conducting these oversight visits without notice. So that was the first block. She said, okay, you have to let these members of Congress visit without notice because she said that would otherwise violate DHS's appropriations rider. But then this new stage of the case came after DHS Secretary Kristi Noem said that now there's going to be a new notice policy, but only for the funds that were passed in the One Big Beautiful Bill, which did not include that rider saying that members of Congress can visit. So she was trying to make the case, the federal government here, that this new policy was allowed, but once again, the judge siding against them, Drew.
Zach, back in May, Congresswoman LaMonica McIver was arrested and charged with interfering with an immigration arrest after a confrontation with federal agents outside a detention center in her state of New Jersey. Remind us what happened in that case, and could this ruling impact her case moving forward?
That case is one of these oversight visits that we have seen members of Congress conducting, particularly Democrats who are trying to raise alarm and raise attention to some of the conditions at these ICE facilities, at some of these facilities all over. The case we've been talking about with this ruling here deals with some other visits, including one they recently said they were trying to visit an ICE facility up in Minnesota with the recent attention up there. But as you mentioned, Drew, we also saw this play out last year at that facility in New Jersey. And that criminal case against the Democratic Congresswoman there is still ongoing. And Drew, this new ruling really won't have much of an effect there because what she is charged with there is essentially an assault case, saying that while she was conducting that visit, you see some of the videos there on your screen there of some of those scuffles, that she actually physically were assaulting personnel. So regardless of what the appropriations rider says and all of that, that's irrelevant to the question of whether or not an assault took place. Now, of course, she has plenty of other defenses as well, saying that under the Constitution's speech and debate clause that she can't be prosecuted and things like that. But this lawsuit that we've been talking about, Drew, really isn't a bit of a separate bucket.
The Trump administration and the courts have continued to clash over the president's immigration enforcement agenda. What should we be keeping an eye on moving forward as more cases move through the legal system?
Yeah, Minnesota, Drew, right now is really where a lot of the immigration action has been happening. We've been seeing a flurry of rulings coming in, both on Operation Metro Surge itself. A federal judge has now ruled that they will not block Operation Metro Surge, refusing the Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison's request there. But there are still other lawsuits that are continuing as well, including one that we just got a ruling in involving the evidence in the shooting investigation of Alex Preddy, the 37-year-old ICU nurse killed by a Customs and Border Protection agent. Federal personnel have been declining to turn over evidence there to state personnel. Hennepin County in Minnesota went into court trying to order that a judge order the federal government to preserve all evidence. And this new ruling from the judge says there's no need to do so because federal policies already require evidence preservation. So a lot of different pieces to this puzzle, Drew, up in Minnesota. Some new lawsuits being filed in just the last few days as well. So we are continuing to watch that busy court docket up there in St. Paul.
All right, Zach, that's all I got for you. Always great checking in. And you too at home can have all of Zach's reporting right into your inbox. Head over to thehill.com, click on newsletters, and subscribe to The Gavel. Zach, thanks again.
Thanks, Drew.